Good evening and welcome to Sun Middle Temple. We are so happy you've joined us. My name is Alba and I use she, her pronouns. This is our first February observance and I'm so happy you are here. As always, the service is recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel. Please remember our ongoing Wax Museum project, Pentagram project, and our new project, which is audiobook recording. Please also attend our romantic movie night on Valentine's Day. So we will open today with our opening words, which will appear on the slide behind you. Please listen as I read the words aloud, or read them aloud along with me. We welcome you into the light of the gods and light this flame in celebration. May its brightness symbolize our connection to the gods and the natural world. May you join us in this community of faith, cherishing love and with open hearts. So our theme for this month is Order and Chaos, which you might notice is a repeat of the very first theme we ever did, but I've expanded it and we've done some more work since then, so I think it'll be more interesting this time around. So, our readings today are Theogony by Hesiod, translated by Charles Abraham Elton, Gods and Heroes by Ferdinand Schmidt and Carl Friedrich, translated by George P. Upton, and A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen, translated by Robert Farquharson. I think I said that last name right. And one of these ended up being extremely long, so there will be no discussion afterwards. So we will start with Theogony. First of all beings chaos was, and next wide-bosomed earth, the seat forever firm of thy immortals whose abode is placed among the Mount Olymp's snow-topped heads, or in the dark abysses of the ground. Then love most beauteous of immortals rose, he of each god and mortal man at once, unnerves the limbs, dissolves the wiser breast, by reason steeled, and quells the very soul. And that's the very short section that we're reading from Theogony. And so now we'll do the Gods and Heroes section, which is the story of Sisyphus. Sisyphus was in the same dreadful place in the upper world. He had been guilty of thefts among men and the gods. In the very hour of his death he perpetuated an evil deed. He seized and bound Thanatos, the god of death, with brazen bands, and for a long time no one died on earth. The gods of the underworld sent to Zeus this message: Behold, Thanatos, who went to the upper world to bring Sisyphus here, has not returned. For 7 days no shade has entered our dark kingdom. Thereupon Zeus sent for the powerful war god Ares, and ordered him to find the god of death. He soon found and released him from his fetters, and Sisyphus was taken to the underworld by Thanatos. Even then he continued his deceitful deeds. He said to his wife, Do not bury my body, and make the customary death offering to the gods of the underworld. Then he appeared before Hades and Persephone, and said, My wife has not buried my body, and has neglected to make the death offering. Let me go to her, and remind the faithless one of her duty. Then I surely will return. His wish was granted, and he returned to the upper world. As he did not come back, word was once again sent to Zeus, who dispatched the swift-flying Hermes to take the deceiver back. When Sisyphus saw the divine messenger, his courage gave way, for he knew that no mortal could outdo him in cunning. Hermes took him back to the dark kingdom, where a fearful penalty awaited him. He had to roll a huge block of marble up a high mountain, which no sooner reached the top than went thundering down. He had to begin his task over and over, with sweat of toil and anguish dropping from his brow to the earth. So our theme for this month is order and chaos, and then it only makes sense that we address existentialism, a philosophy that came about because the previous philosophy, nihilism, was considered too depressing. So existentialism posits that each person makes their own purpose in life, and as such the most important things that you can do are take action, have freedom, and make decisions. It relies on the idea that existence precedes essence. In other words, that people develop as they grow and make choices. Existentialism follows the same path as nihilism in believing that there is no greater overall purpose to the world and that things are, well, generally chaos. So emerging from existentialism, we have absurdism, which posits that there are 3 ways to address the absurdity and chaos of the universe not having a purpose. The first is suicide, which most philosophers dismiss as a not viable option. The second is taking a leap of faith and believing in religion, which Kierkegaard says is the best option. But Camus says no. He says that you are just committing suicide, but philosophically and not literally. And the third is accepting the absurd and deciding that giving order to the absurd is a human's purpose. And this is why he writes his very famous book, The Myth of Sisyphus. Kierkegaard thinks this perspective is demonic madness. However, it is important to remember that when talking about these, both of these guys were thinking about Abrahamic religions as these philosophies were developing. So Camus thinks that the myth of Sisyphus, that Sisyphus one must imagine Sisyphus happy because he has a continuous purpose in life, and despite the world being chaos, he is providing order to this life by pushing this boulder up the hill and having it fall back down. So one must imagine that Sisyphus is happy. So we'll now move into our very long portion of The Observant, which is A Dollhouse House by Henrik Ibsen, and I will read you a quick summary I've written of what happens in the play before we get to the section we are reading from Act 3, which is the very final portion of the play. So the play opens with Nora returning home with a bunch of Christmas presents and being teased by her husband Torvald for spending so much money this year when she handmade the gifts last year because money was tight. A friend of Nora's, Christine, arrives at the door alongside another friend of the family, Dr. Rank. Christine explains that after her husband's death, she could not support her children and has come to ask Torvald for a job. Nora is empathetic and describes how her own struggles when Torvald was ill, and how she got money from an admirer to take Torvald away to get well. Torvald believes she got the money from her father. In reality, she took out an illegal loan and has since been working secretly to pay it off. Krogstad, an employee at Torvald's bank, who he is going to fire, has discovered the loan and is using it to blackmail Nora so that he can keep his job. Nora gets Christine a job at the bank and tries to persuade Torvald to keep Krogstad on, but is unsuccessful. Nora again tries to persuade Torvald. There's a piece of the play where she tries to persuade him, it doesn't work, everyone leaves, and then she tries to persuade Torvald again, and is still unsuccessful. Dr. Rank arrives, and Nora asks him for a favor, but he reveals that he has a terminal illness, but has always been in love with her, and Nora tells him that she loves him as a friend and not as a lover. Krogstad then arrives after being fired and says that he is now going to blackmail Torvald into promoting him, even though Nora explains that she tried very much to persuade Torvald not to fire him. He places a letter detailing all of what has happened in Torvald's locked letterbox. Nora then confides in Christine, who promises to go and convince Krogstad not to go through with the scheme. And Nora later distracts Torvald from opening his mailbox by acting childish and dancing badly. Once alone, Nora contemplates killing herself. Christine meets Krogstad and tells him that she only married her husband to support her family, and now that her husband is dead, she can rekindle their relationship. Krogstad agrees and offers to take his letter back from Torvald, but Christine insists that he needs to know. Torvald and Nora attend a party, and Torvald has to drag Nora home, with Dr. Rank following close behind. They meet Christine, who says that Nora has nothing to fear from Krogstad anymore. So we'll begin to pick up with Rank arriving at Tora and Norvald's home. Nora, starting. Did you hear? Torvald, going into the hall. Who is it? Rank, outside. It is I. May I come in for a moment? Torvald, in a fretful whisper. Oh, what does he want now? Aloud. Wait a minute, unlocks the door. Come, that's kind of you not to pass by our door. Rank. I thought I heard your voice and felt as if I should like to look in, with a swift glance around. Ah, yes, these dear familiar rooms. You are very happy and cozy in here, you two. Torvald. It seems to me that you looked after yourself pretty well upstairs, too. Rank. Excellently. Why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't one enjoy everything in this world? At any rate, as much as one can, and as long as one can. The wine was capital, Torvald, especially the champagne. Rank. So you noticed that too? It is almost incredible how much I managed to put away. Nora. Torvald drank a great deal of champagne tonight too. Rank. Did he? Nora. Yes, and he is always in such good spirits afterward. Rank. Well, why should one not enjoy a merry evening after a well-spent day? Torvald. Well spent? I'm afraid I can't take credit for that. Rank, clapping on the back. But I can, you know. Nora. Dr. Rank, you must have been occupied with some scientific investigation today. Rank. Exactly. Torvald. Just listen, little Nora talking about scientific investigations. Nora. And may I congratulate you on the results? Rank. Indeed you may. Nora. Was it favorable then? Rank. The best possible, for both doctor and patient certainly. Nora. Quickly and searchingly. Certainty? Rank. Absolute certainty. So wasn't I entitled to make a merry evening of it after that? Nora. Yes, you certainly were, Dr. Rank. Torvald. I think so too, so long as you don't have to pay for it in the morning. Rank. Oh well, one can't have everything in this life without paying for it. Nora. Dr. Rank, are you fond of fancy dress balls? Rank. Yes, if there is a fine lot of pretty costumes. Nora. Tell me, what shall we to wear at the next? Torvald. Little Featherbrain, are you already thinking of the next? Rank. We too? Yes, I can tell you. You shall go as a good fairy. Torvald. Yes, but what do you suggest as an appropriate costume for that? Rank. Let your wife go dressed as she is in everyday life. Torvald. That was really very prettily turned, but can't you tell us as to what you will be? Rank, yes, my dear friend, I have quite made up my mind about that. Torvald. Well, Rank, at the next fancy dress ball, I shall be invisible. Torvald. That's a good joke. Rank. There's a big black hat. Have you heard of hats that make you invisible? If you put one on, no one can see you. Torvald, suppressing a smile. Yes, you are quite right. Rank. But I'm clean forgetting what I came for. Helmer, give me a cigar, one of the dark Havanas. Helmer, with the greatest pleasure, offers him his case. Rank takes a cigar and cuts off the end. Thanks. Nora, striking a match. Let me give you a light. Rank. Thank you. She holds the match for him to light his cigar. And now goodbye. Torvald. Goodbye, goodbye, dear old man. Nora. Sleep well, Dr. Rank. Rank. Thank you for that wish. Nora. Wish me the same. Rank. You? Well, if you want me to sleep well. And thanks for the light. He nods to them both and goes out. Torvald. He has drunk more than he ought. Nora. Absently. Maybe. Torvald takes a bunch of keys out of his pocket and goes into the hall. Torvald, what are you going to do there? Torvald. Emptying the letterbox. It is quite full. There'll be no room to put the newspaper in the morning. Nora. Are you going to work tonight? Torvald. You know quite well I am not. What is this? Someone has been at the lock. Nora. At the lock? Torvald. Yes, someone has. What can it mean? I should never have had thought the maid. Here is a broken hairpin. Nora, it is one of yours. Nora. Quickly. Then it must have been the children. Torvald. Then you must get them out of those ways. There. At last I've gotten it open. Takes out the contents of the letterbox and calls to the kitchen. Helen! Helen! Put out the light over the front door. Goes back into the room and shuts the door to the hall. He holds out his hand full of letters. Look at that! Look! What a heap of them there are! Turning them over. What on earth is that? Nora at the window. The letter? No, Torvald. No. Helmer. Torvald. 2 cards of ranks. Nora. Of Dr. Ranks? Torvald. Dr. Rank. They were on the top. He must have put them in when he went out. Nora. Is there anything written on them? Torvald. There's a black cross over the name. Look there. What an uncomfortable idea. It looks as if he were announcing his own death. Nora. It is just what he is doing. Torvald. What? Do you know anything about it? Has he said anything to you? Nora. Yes, he told me that when the cards came, it would be his leave-taking from us. He means to shut himself up and die. Torvald. My poor old friend. Certainly I knew we should not have him very long with us, but so soon? And so he hides himself away like a wounded animal? Nora. If it has to happen, it is best it should be without a word. Don't you think so, Torvald? Torvald, walking up and down. He has grown into our lives. I can't think of him as having gone out of them. He, with his sufferings and his loneliness, was like a cloudy background to our sunlit happiness. Well, perhaps it is best so. For him, anyway, standing still. And perhaps for us too, Nora. We two are thrown quite upon each other now. Puts his arms round her. My darling wife, I don't feel as if I could hold you tight enough. Do you know, Nora, I have often wished that you might be threatened by some great danger, so I might risk my life's blood and everything for your sake. Nora disengages herself and says firmly and decidedly, "Now you must read your letters, Torvald." Torvald. "No, no, not tonight. I want to be with you, my darling wife." Nora. With the thought of your friend's death? Torvald. "You are right, it has affected us both. Something ugly has come between us, the thought of the horrors of death. We must try and rid our minds of that. Until then, we will each go to our own room." Nora hanging on his neck. "Good night, Torvald. Good night." Torvald kissing her on the forehead. "Good night, my little singing bird. Sleep sound, Nora. Now I will read my letters through." He takes his letters and goes into his room, shutting the door after him. Nora gropes distractedly about, seizes Torvald's domino and throws it round her, while she says in quick, hoarse, spasmodic whispers, "Never to see him again. Never, never." Puts her shawl over her head. "Never to see my children again, either. Never again. Never, never. Ah, the icy black water, the unfathomable depths. If only it were over. He has got it now. Now he is reading it. Goodbye, Torvald and my children." She is about to rush out through the hall when Torvald opens his door hurriedly and stands with an open letter in his hand. Torvald. "Nora! Ah!" Torvald. "What is this? Do you know what is in this letter?" Nora. "Yes, I know. Let me go. Let me get out." Torvald holding her back. "Where are you going?" Nora trying to get free. "You shan't save me, Torvald." Torvald reeling. "True? Is this that I read here true? Horrible! No, it is impossible. It can't be true." Nora. "It is true. I have loved you above everything else in the world." Torvald. "Oh, don't let us have any silly excuses." Nora taking a step towards him. Torvald. Torvald. "Miserable creature, what have you done?" Nora. "Let me go. You shall not suffer for my sake. You shall not take it upon yourself." Torvald. "No tragic airs, please." Locks the hall door. "Here, you shall stay and give me an explanation. Do you understand what you have done? Answer me. Do you understand what you have done?" Nora looks steadily at him and says with growing look of coldness in her face, "Yes, now I am beginning to understand thoroughly." Torvald walking about the room. "What a horrible awakening! All these 8 years she was my joy and pride, a hypocrite, a liar, worse, worse, a criminal! The unutterable ugliness of it all! For shame! For shame!" Nora is silent and looks steadily at him. He stops in front of her. "I ought to have suspected that something of the sort would happen. I ought to have foreseen it. All your father's want of principle. Be silent. All your father's want of principle has come out in you. No religion, no morality, no sense of duty. How am I punished for having winked at what he said he did? I did it for your sake, and this is how you repay me." Nora. "Yes, that's just it." Torvald. "You have destroyed all my happiness. You have ruined all my future. It is horrible to think of. I am in the power of an unscrupulous man. He can do what he likes with me, ask anything he likes of me, give me orders as he pleases. I dare not refuse. I must sink to such miserable depths because of a thoughtless woman." Nora. "When I am out of the way, you will be free." Torvald. "No fine speeches, please. Your father always had plenty of those ready too. What good would it be to me if you were out of the way, as you say? Not the slightest. He can make the affair known everywhere, and if he does, I may be falsely suspected of having been a party to your criminal action. Very likely people will think I was behind it all, and that it was I who prompted you. And I have to thank you for this, you whom I have cherished during the whole of our married life. Do you understand now what it is you have done for me?" Nora coldly and quietly. "Yes." Torvald. "It is so incredible that I can't take it in, but we must come to some understanding. Take off that shawl. Take it off, I tell you. I must try and appease him in some way or another. The matter must be hushed up at any cost. And as for you and me, it must appear as if everything between us were just as before, and naturally only in the eyes of the world. You will still remain in my house, but that is a matter of course. But I shall not allow you to bring up the children. I dare not trust them to you. You think that I should be obliged to say so to one whom I have loved so dearly and whom I still. No, that is all over. From this moment, happiness is not the question. All that concerns us is to save the remains, the fragments, the appearance." A ring is heard at the front doorbell. Torvald with a start. "What is this? So late? Can the worst? Can he? Hide yourself, Nora. Say you are ill." Nora stands motionless. Helmer goes and unlocks the door. Maid, half dressed, comes to the door. "A letter for the mistress." Torvald. "Give it to me." Takes the letter and shuts the door. "Yes, it is from him. You shall not have it. I will read it myself." Nora. "Yes, read it." Torvald standing by the lamp. I scarcely have the courage to do it. It may mean ruin for both of us. No, I must know. Tears open the letter and runs his eye over a few lines and looks at the paper enclosed and gives a shout of joy. Nora! She looks at him questioningly. Nora, no, I must read it again. Yes, it is true, I am saved. Nora, I am saved. Nora, and I? Torvald, you too, of course, we are both saved, you and I. Look, he sends you your bond back. He says he regrets and repents that a happy change in his life. Never mind what he says. We are saved, Nora. No one can do anything to you. Oh, Nora, Nora. Oh, first I must destroy these hateful things. Let me see. Takes a look at the bond. No, no, I won't look at it. The whole thing shall be nothing but a bad dream to me. Tears up the bond and both letters, throws them all into the stove and watches them burn. There! Now it doesn't exist any longer. He says that since Christmas Eve, these must have been 3 dreadful days for you, Nora. Nora, I have fought hard. I have fought a hard fight for these 3 days. Torvald, and suffered agonies and seen no way out. No, we won't call any of the horrors to mind. We will only shout with joy and keep saying it is all over, it is all over. Listen to me, Nora. You don't seem to realize it is all over. What is this? Such a cold set face, my poor little Nora. I quite understand. You don't feel as if you could believe that I have forgiven you. But it is true, Nora. I swear it. I have forgiven you everything. I know that what you did out of love for me. Nora, that is true. Torvald, you have loved me as a wife ought to love her husband. Only you had not sufficient knowledge to judge of the means you use. But do you suppose you are any less dear to me because you don't understand how to act on your own responsibility? No, no, only lean on me. I will advise you and direct you. I should not be a man if this womanly helplessness did not just give you a double attractiveness in my eyes. You must not think any more about the hard things I said in my first moment of consternation, when I thought everything was going to overwhelm me. I have forgiven you, Nora. I swear to you I have forgiven you. Nora, thank you for your forgiveness. She goes out through the door to the right. Torvald, no, don't go, Luxon. What are you doing in there? Nora from within. Taking off my fancy dress. Torvald standing at the open door. Yes, do. Try and calm yourself, and make your mind easy again, my frightened little singing bird. Be at rest and feel secure. I have broad wings to shelter you under. Walks up and down the door. How warm and cozy our home is, Nora. Here is shelter for you. Here I will protect you like a hunted dove that I have saved from a hawk's claws. I will bring peace to your poor beating heart. It will come little by little, Nora. Believe me, tomorrow morning you will look upon it quite differently. Soon everything will be just as it was before. Very soon you won't need me to assure you that I have forgiven you. You will yourself feel the certainty that I have done so. Can you suppose I should ever think of such a thing as repudiating you, or even reproaching you? You have no idea what a true man's heart is like, Nora. There is something so indescribably sweet and satisfying to a man in the knowledge that he has forgiven his wife, forgiven her freely, and with all his heart. It seems as if he had made her, as it were, doubly his own. He has given her a new life, so to speak, and she has in some way become both wife and child to him. So you shall be for me after this, my little scared, helpless darling. Have no anxiety about anything, Nora. Only be frank and open with me, and I will serve as your will and conscience both of you. What is this? Not gone to bed? Have you changed your things? Nora in everyday dress. Yes, Torvald, I have changed my things now. Torvald, but what for, so late as this? Nora, I shall not sleep tonight. Torvald, but my dear Nora. Nora, looking at her watch. It is not so very late. Sit down here, Torvald. You and I have much to say to one another. She sits down at one side of the table. Torvald, Nora, what is this cold set face? Nora, sit down. It will take some time. I have a lot to talk over with you. Torvald sits opposite on the side of the table. You alarm me, Nora, and I don't understand you. Nora, no, that's just it. You don't understand me, and I have never understood you either before tonight. No, you mustn't interrupt me. You must simply listen to what I say. Torvald, this is a settling of accounts. Torvald, what do you mean by that? Nora, after a short silence. Isn't there one thing that strikes you as strange in our sitting here like this? Torvald, what is that? Nora, we have been married now 8 years. Does it not occur to you that it is the first time we two, you and I, husband and wife, have had a serious conversation? Torvald, what do you mean by serious? Nora, in all these 8 years longer than that, from the very beginning of our acquaintance, we have never exchanged a word on any serious subject. Torvald, Was it likely that I would be continually and forever telling you about my worries that you could not help me to bear? Nora, I am not speaking about business matters. I say that we have never sat down in earnest to try and get to the bottom of anything. Torvald. But dearest Nora, it would not have been any good to you. Nora. That's just it. You have never understood me. I have been greatly wronged, Torvald. First by papa and then by you. Torvald. What? By us too? By us too who have loved you better than anyone else in the world? Nora, shaking her head. You have never loved me. You have only thought it pleasant to be in love with me. Torvald. Nora, what do I hear you saying? Nora. It is perfectly true, Torvald. When I was at home with papa, he told me his opinion about everything, and so I had the same opinions, and if I differed from him, I concealed the fact because he would not have liked it. He called me his doll child, and he played with me just as I used to play with my dolls. And when I came to you, Torvald, what sort of expression is that to use about our marriage? Nora, undisturbed. I mean that I was simply transferred from papa's hands into yours. You arranged everything according to your own tastes, and so I got the same taste as you, or else I pretended to. I'm really not quite sure which. I think sometimes the one and sometimes the other. When I look back on it, it seems to have been as if I had been living here like a poor woman, just from hand to mouth. I have existed merely to perform tricks for you, Torvald. But you would have it so. You and papa have committed a great sin against me. It is your fault that I have made nothing of my life. Torvald, how unreasonable and how ungrateful you are, Nora. Have you not been happy here? Nora, no, I have never been happy. I thought I was, but it has never really been so. Helmer, Torvald, sorry. Not happy? Nora, no, only merry. And you have always been kind to me, but our home has been nothing but a playroom. I have been your doll wife, just as I was papa's doll child, and here the children have been my dolls. I thought it great fun when you played with me, just as when they thought it great fun when I played with them. That is what our marriage has been, Torvald. Torvald, there is some truth in what you say, exaggerated and strained as your view of it is, but for the future it shall be different. Playtime shall be over and lesson time shall begin. Nora, whose lessons? Mine or the children's? Torvald, yours and the children's, my darling Nora. Nora, alas, Torvald, you are not the man to educate me into being a proper wife for you. Torvald, and you can say that? Nora, and I? How am I fitting to bring up the children? Torvald, Nora! Nora, didn't you say so yourself a little while ago that you dare not trust me to bring them up? Torvald, in a moment of anger. Why you need pay any heed to that? Nora, indeed, you were perfectly right. I am not fit for a task. There was another task I must take up first. I must try and educate myself. You are not the man to help me in that. I must do that for myself, and that is why I am now going to leave you. Torvald springing up. What did you say? Nora, I must stand quite alone, if I am to understand myself and everything about me. It is for that reason I cannot remain with you any longer. Torvald. Nora! Nora! Nora, I am going away from here now at once. I am sure Christine will take me in for the night. Torvald. You are out of your mind. I won't allow it. I forbid you. Nora. It is no use forbidding me anything any longer. I will take with me what belongs to myself. I will take nothing from you either now or later. Torvald. What sort of madness is this? Nora. Tomorrow I shall go home. I mean to my old home. It will be easiest for me to find something to do there. Torvald. You blind, foolish woman! Nora. I must try and get some sense, Torvald. Torvald. To desert your home, your husband, and your children, and you don't consider what people will say? Nora. I cannot consider that at all. I only know that it is necessary for me. Torvald. It is shocking how you would neglect your most sacred duties. Nora. And what do you consider my most sacred duties? Torvald. Do I need to tell you that? Are they not your duties to your husband and children? Nora. I have other duties just as sacred. Torvald. That you have not. What can those duties be? Nora. Duties to myself. Torvald. Before anything else you are a wife and mother. Nora. I don't believe that any longer. I believed that before all else I am a reasonable human being, just as you are, or at all events that I must try and become one. I am quite well, Torvald. That most people would think of you right, and that views of that are kind are to be found in books. But I can no longer content myself with what most people say or what is found in books. I must think over things for myself and get to understand them. Torvald, can you not understand your place in your own home? Have you not a reliable guide in such matters as that? Have you no religion? Nora. I am afraid, Torvald, I do not know exactly what religion is. Torvald. What are you saying? Nora. I know nothing but what the clergyman said. When I went to be confirmed, he told us that religion was this and that and the other. When I am away from all this and am alone, I will look into that matter too. I will see if what the clergyman said is true, or at all events if it is true for me. Torvald, this is unheard of in a girl of your age. But if religion cannot lead you aright, let me try and awaken your conscience. I suppose you have some moral sense. Or answer me, am I to think you have none? Nor, I assure you, Torvald, that is not an easy question to answer. I really don't know. The thing perplexes me altogether. I only know that you and I look at it in quite a different light. I am learning, too, that the law is quite another thing from what I suppose. But I find it impossible to convince myself that the law is right. According to it, a woman has no right to spare her old, dying father or to save her husband's life. I can't believe that. Torvald, you talk like a child. You don't understand the conditions of the world in which you live. Nora, no, I don't. But I am going to try. I am going to see if I can make out who is right, the world or I. Torvald, you are ill, Nora. You are delirious. I almost think you are out of your mind. Nora, I have never felt my mind so clear and certain as tonight. Torvald, and it is clear and certain in mind that you forsake your husband and your children? Nora, yes, it is. Helma, then there is only one possible explanation. Nora, what is that? Torvald, you don't love me any more. Nora, no, that is just it. Torvald, Nora! And you could say that? Nora, it gives me great pain, Torvald, for you have always been kind to me, but I cannot help it. I do not love you any more. Torvald, regaining his composure. Is that a clear and certain conviction, too? Nora, yes, absolutely clear and certain. That is the reason why I will not stay here any longer. Torvald, and can you tell me what I have done to forfeit your love? Nora, yes, indeed I can. It was tonight, when the wonderful thing did not happen. Then I saw you were not the man I thought you were. Torvald, explain yourself better. I don't understand you. Nora, I have waited so patiently for 8 years. For goodness knows, I knew very well that wonderful things don't happen every day. Then this horrible misfortune came upon me, and then I felt quite certain that the wonderful thing was going to happen at last. When Krogstad's letter was lying out there, never for a moment did I imagine that you would consent to accept this man's condition. I was absolutely certain that you would say to him, publish that thing to the whole world. And when that was done, Torvald, yes, and then, when I had exposed my wife to shame and disgrace, Nora, when that was done, I was absolutely certain you would come forward and take everything upon yourself and say I am the guilty one. Torvald, Nora! Nora, you mean that I would never have accepted such a sacrifice on your part? No, of course not. But what would have been my what would have my assurances have been against your worth against yours? That was the wonderful thing for which I had hoped and feared, and it was to prevent that I wanted to kill myself. Torvald, I would gladly work night and day for you, Nora. Bear sorrow and want for your sake, but no man would sacrifice his honor for the one he loves. Nor, it is a thing hundreds of thousands of women have done. Torvald, oh, you think and talk like a heedless child. Nora, maybe, but you neither think nor talk like the man I could bind myself to. As soon as your fear was over, and it was not fear for what threatened me, but for what might happen to you, when the whole thing was past, as far as you were concerned, it was exactly as if nothing at all had happened. Exactly as before, I was your little skylark, your doll, which you would in future treat with doubly gentle care, because it was so brittle and fragile. Getting up. Torvald. It was then that dawned upon me that for 8 years I had been living here with a strange man, and had borne him 3 children. Oh, I can't bear to think of it. I could tear myself into little bits. Torvald, I see. An abyss has opened up between us, and there is no denying it. But Nora, would it not be possible to fill it up? Nora, as I am now, I am no wife for you. Torvald, I have it in me to become a different man. Nora, perhaps if your doll is taken away from you. Torvald, but depart from you? No, Nora, I can't understand that idea. Nora, going out to the right. That makes it all the more certain that it must be done. She comes back with a cloak, hat, and a small bag which she puts on the chair by the table. Torvald, Nora, not now, wait until tomorrow. Nora, putting on her cloak, I cannot spend the night in a strange man's room. Torvald, but can't we at least live here like brother and sister? Nora, putting on her hat, you know very well that would not last. Puts the shawl around her. Goodbye, Torvald. I won't see the little ones. I know they're in better hands than mine. As I am now, I can be of no use to them. Torvald, but some day, Nora, some day. Nora, how can I tell? I have no idea what is going to become of me. Torvald, but you are my wife, whatever becomes of you. Nora, listen, Torvald. I have heard that when a wife deserts her husband's house, as I am doing now, he is legally free from all obligations towards her. In any case, I set you free from all your obligations. You are not to feel yourself bound in the slightest way any more than I shall. Must be perfect freedom on both sides. See, here is your ring back. Give me mine. Torvald, that too? Nora, that too. Torvald, here it is. Nora, that's right. Now it is all over. I have put the keys here. The maids know about everything in the house better than I do. Tomorrow, after I have left her, Christine will come here and pack up my own things that I brought with me from home. I shall have them sent after me. Torvald, all over, all over. Nor shall you never think of me again? Nora, I know I shall often think of you, the children, and this house. Torvald, may I write to you, Nora? No, never. You must not do that. Torvald, but at least let me send you Nora. Nothing, nothing. Torvald, let me help you if you are in want. Nora, no, I can receive nothing from a stranger. Torvald, Nora, can I never be anything more than a stranger to you? Nora, taking her bag. Ah, Torvald, the most wonderful thing of all would have to happen. Torvald, tell me what that would be. Nora, both you and I would have to be so changed that, oh, Torvald, I don't believe any longer in wonderful things happening. Torvald, but I will believe in it. Tell me, so changed that, Nora, that our life together would be real wedlock. Goodbye. She goes out of the hall. Torvald sinks down into a chair at the door and buries his face in his hands. Nora, Nora, looks round and rises. Empty. She is gone. A hope flashes across his mind. The most wonderful thing of all, the sound of a door shutting is heard from below. So that is the end of our observance today. It was very long, but I really wanted us to get through that whole ending portion. And next week we will cover the discussion that is related to both the play and this. We can't do it today because we're already this ended up being much longer than before. But I will now go and play the ritual video. I will now read the closing words, and as usual, you can listen to them or read them aloud along with me. As we move out into the world, let us remember our community of faith. Cherish love and open your heart as you walk through life. Hold dear the light of the gods and our connection with the natural world. Go forth in celebration and carry the light of connection within your heart. And I will pause the recording.